Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, in the Things You Missed in Elden Ring, we're going to start exploring the subterranean shunning grounds together. To find the entrance to this dungeon, make sure you've watched my Things You Missed in Leyndell, the royal capital, because I do show you how to get to the underground roadside site of grace there. So once you have lit that site of grace, I'll meet you there. Now, to start off this video, I'm just going to show some footage of me fighting these putrid ogres, as they are incredibly powerful and plentiful within this area. So make sure you get familiar with them and make sure that you're strong enough and comfortable with defeating them. If not, you can check out a few of my other videos if there are other areas of the game you haven't progressed yet, and you can come back here later when you're a bit more powerful, because you are going to need a strong character to get through this area. Also, to make sure you don't miss out on any other juicy Elden Ring content, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, and also please consider giving this video a like if you enjoy the content. Now we'll get into the first real tip for this video. I've just switched up my build to make sure I'm as powerful as possible for this area, so I'll skip this first bit of footage as I'm clearing out the few ogres here, and then as you're running down the only hallway currently available to you, on the right hand side you'll see a ladder, and you can also grab part of the blood-soaked armor set. We'll ignore that ladder for now, and right at the end of the room you'll see a hole in the floor. You can grab that golden rune 11 before we go down, and then jump in the hole and we'll start exploring. There's a bunch of rats to clear out, including one that's going to jump out and ambush you from a crate. Then you'll see a tunnel on your right hand side. Ignore that for now and go straight forwards. There's now a good 5 minutes of me very cautiously killing lots of giant Miranda blooms. So I'll skip through that for you and I'll meet you at the end of the hallway. Here you're going to see a ladder that you can progress up. You can loot a rune arc right at the top. And then be a lot more careful than I was, because as you go to loot this item, you'll be ambushed by a load of finger creepers. I somehow managed to survive the encounter. I yeet myself off the ledge and survive the fall, then come back and very cautiously deal with all the finger creepers. Once they're dead, as long as you've been progressing the Dung Eater's questline, he will have given you the sewer jail key, and you can use that here to go and speak to him. There's nothing to loot in this room, but now that we've freed him, I'll show you where to do the next part of his questline, and we'll cover his questline in full in a later video. But now that we've freed him, I'm going to go back to Roundtable Hold and speak to him there. Once you get back to Roundtable Hold, if you go to where he was, there will just be a note, and that will read, "I'll defile you next. Come to the outer moat." So now you want to teleport yourself just to the north of the royal capital. I've marked on the map the moat that he's referring to, and as we're heading down, we'll be invaded by the Dung Eater. When you defeat him, you'll be rewarded with the Sword of Milos, which is an awesome looking great sword with pretty reasonable stat requirements and also a relatively high scaling in dex, considering it's a great sword, and also it has blood loss build-up with a very cool looking unique skill that changes up the two-handed heavy attack. So all in all, not a bad reward for that part of the Dung Eater's quest. Now you can go back to Roundtable Hold and speak to him again, and you will have unlocked the next part of his questline. This I will be covering entirely in his own questline video, but essentially what you need to do now is find 5 of the 6 available seedbed curses throughout the world and feed them to him back at his location in the sewer jail. As I say, we'll expand on that in his questline video. I'll leave it there for now, and we'll get back to the subterranean shunning grounds. This is where this area is going to start to get really confusing. We're going to jump back down the hole in the ground and clear out the few rats before entering into the tunnel. And from this point, there is so many winding tunnels and pipes that lead you to various dead ends. It doesn't really matter what order you complete them in, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't get lost at least once or twice. So for the most part, I will take you through as logically as I can, but what I will also do for you is, rather than taking you through every single step of my journey, I will call out all of the important missable items so you can just create a checklist and make sure that you haven't missed anything. And together, we will find everything eventually. So straight away, as I've just done, make sure you avoid the holes in the floor as you're either avoiding or taking out all of these slugs. After you've jumped over the second hole, you'll get 10 rainbow stone arrows. And then the first path we're going to take is we're going to go left at this grate and down the tunnel. I'm then going to take out a group of slugs because I just can't help myself. When I see enemies in this game, they need to die. I'm going to fail miserably trying to get this one on the roof and keep heading down. On your right hand side, you'll see a lesser revenant you can take out, and then there'll be another lesser revenant in front of you as you go out into this room here. There's a few more lesser revenants scattered around. Take them out quickly, because when you progress a certain way into the room, a royal revenant will spawn. Good luck with him. If you're good with your dodges, you can just run around the room grabbing all the items and get the fuck out if you want. I opted to take him out so I could loot cautiously, and there's some decent loot in here, including a Ghost Glove Wart 6 and a Smithing Stone 7. So now we'll head back into the pipes and go straight forward through the grate this time. Be very careful for all the slugs that will jump out and try and ambush you. You can loot some fireproof dried liver behind where they were. And then you'll come to another room where you'll have to fight 2 putrid ogres in quick succession. Be very careful with these 2. Once they're both dead, you can get a Somber Smithing Stone 8 and head up the ladder. Be super careful here. Now you can unlock your first shortcut back to the initial site of grace. And then once we've taken out this putrid ogre who was over in the corner of the room by the statue, you can then come over and help yourself to a Smithing Stone 7. And also open up these doors, which we'll be going through much later in the video. For now, I'm going to go back to the site of grace and rest, and then we'll continue on with the guide. Now that we're back in the pipes, come back to the grate where we were ambushed by a few slugs just here. You don't need to go as far as the slugs, it's just so you have a point of reference. I'm going to come back to this grate and turn left. We're going to jump over this hole, and then just a bit further down around the corner, you'll see a load more slugs with another hole. I'm going to accidentally fumble and fall down here, which takes me to where we actually need to go, which is amazing. One end is a dead end, so keep heading the other way. This is a linear tunnel, and in no time at all, you'll come out to an enclosed area with some lesser Revenants. Once you've taken them out, you can grab a stone sword key, open up this door, and get back into the tunnel we were just in. Now I'm going to jump over the hole that we just fell in, take out all these slugs, and I'll be back at the start where all the rats are. Just as another point of reference for you to help orient yourself if this is already getting very confusing, because I know it is for me. And then just to test it to make sure I'm not missing out on anything, I jump into the second hole as well that we jumped over before, but that just brings you back to the room with the Royal Revenant. So don't worry, you're not missing anything there. You don't need to make that jump. We're done with these pipes for now, so let's teleport back to the same site of grace again, and I'll talk you through the next bit. Now that we're back at the site of grace, it's time to take the ladder that we've been passing a few times. That's on the right hand side before you get to the hole in the floor. You'll drop down onto a series of very precariously thin pipes with lots of imps on them, so be super careful as you're clearing out and looting this area. There's no incredibly awesome items to share with you, so I'll skim over them very briefly, but you can grab some freezing grease, serpent arrows, and also from the central platform here, once you've taken out this imp, some fire grease. Make sure you also head down this pipe to grab a Somber Smithing Stone 6. And then once you finish clearing out the rest of the imps, we're going to take the southwest exit. And once we've grabbed this Smithing Stone 7, be super careful as you come into this next room, because you can open yet another shortcut back to the main site of grace, but there will be an ogre ready to ambush you. And before I manage to defeat him and loot the item, I aggro another one, panic, and die. So let's try that again, shall we? This time we're going to absolutely wreck his face with Comet Azure, and then we can loot the Shadow Bait spell. And now, just as you come back into the room with all the pipes and imps, you can drop down onto a pipe below you, right outside the door that we just came through. Once you're down here, drop down again, and you'll face 2 giant crayfish. We all already know exactly how horrific these enemies are, due to the fact that they scored so highly in the community-voted top 10 most hated enemies in the game. So super good luck with these guys, and once you've taken them out, you are free to go around and loot some incredibly awesome items, including a Somber Smithing Stone 7 from this scarab here, 2 Smithing Stone 7 just ahead of them, and Mohg's Shackle at the end of the room here, which, just like with Margit's Shackle, not only will it stun Mohg during his boss fight, you can also use it in dungeons and catacombs to trigger things like the fire-breathing statues. Now, at the other end of the room, you'll get another Somber Smithing Stone 7 and 2 more Smithing Stone 7. And we're done here. Now go back to where you looted Mohg's Shackle, and you'll see a hole in the wall on your right. Head through here, and before you use the lift, go down these stairs, and you can activate the Leyndell Catacombs site of grace. This is an absolutely enormous dungeon, so we will cover this as part of the second and final part of the things you missed in the Subterranean Shunning Grounds. Make sure you stay tuned for that. It will be out in a day or two, and we'll be covering a super secret boss and wrapping up Hyeta's questline and becoming the Lord of the Frenzied Flame after meeting the Three Fingers. Some very exciting stuff coming up, some incredibly cool boss fights. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is up. And with that, I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.